This is the Sony A5100, a camera that came out way back in 2014, making this a 6-year-old camera. But is it still worth buying in 2020? What's going on, guys? Gary Aman here, back again with a new video. Hope everybody feeling safe and is fine. Welcome to the first episode of the series where I will be reviewing budget cameras or budget-friendly cameras that can be very beneficial for people that don't want to spend a lot of money for their first camera. And the first one that we got right here is the Sony A5100. This came out way back in 2014, so a 6-year-old camera. It has an APS-C sensor, 24.3 megapixels. It got a fast hybrid autofocus system, touch focus shutter, so you can tap the screen and it will make a photo. It has a built-in flash, and we'll find out in this video if it's any good. So I talk a little bit now about the specs already. What we have here is a very small camera. So you can literally hold it with 3 fingers. So if you got 3 fingers or more, this is a great camera for you guys. The build quality out of this, I've dropped it many times already and it still works perfectly fine. So build quality wise is really good. Made from plastic. On the left side we got here the SD card slot and also a USB and HDMI port. So very useful if you really want to. On the top we got the built-in flash, which is very cool, and you can also tilt it upwards so that you can bounce the flash off from a white ceiling, for instance, so that you can have a nice diffuse light. But we are missing on a hot shoe mount. So if you want to do, let's say, product photography or portraits and you want to use an external flash, then you don't have that option. But what you can do to solve that is use continuous lighting, such as the one that I'm using right now. Alright, on the top, let's go continue on. We got a little switch here on the top where you can zoom in and out. I don't use it at all because it works really weird. It doesn't feel like very mechanical. The on and off switch, a record button to record the movies. We got here a little circular dial thingy and a play button and a question mark, which is also the trash can. On the bottom we got the battery, and the battery life of this camera is not that great. So I suggest or advise, actually, if you're interested in buying this camera, you should get at least 2 batteries if you want to shoot it for the whole day. Alright, so that's about the build quality and specs. So let's talk about more interesting things. Can you take great photos with this camera? The answer is yes, you can definitely do. So here are the photos, and as you see, everything looks really sharp. And I shoot in RAW, and if you shoot in RAW, things are looking very flat. So what I suggest, you can download the RAW presets down in the description or in the comment section. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it, and then you can edit those files in, let's say, Lightroom, and from there on you can edit to your own liking. Image quality wise, it's looking really good. You can do all kinds of photography, like portraits, product photography, landscapes, nature, wildlife. Image quality wise for photos is really good. It really reminds me of the Sony A6000. I'm not sure if that is the same sensor. It might be that it is the same sensor. Also for video it's a little bit, it's okay. 1080p up to 60 frames per second. It looks pretty okay with the right lenses. You can get like a really good enough, at least for YouTube. I'm not sure about like real production value things or like commercial things. I'm not sure about that. Cannot do 4K, but if you use a nice, like a prime lens such as the Sigma 16mm, 30mm or 56mm f1.4 lenses, those prime lenses are actually very affordable as well, then this can do pretty good in terms of video. Keep in mind though, if you do video, then this camera will overheat in about 15-16 minutes or so. And then after that it will just shut off, and that's all. You have to wait a couple of minutes, then you can carry on again. So keep that in mind if you want to do like YouTube videos. You don't have a microphone input, so even though the camera itself has microphones, it's okay. I'm now recording also on the Sony A5100. How does it look? I think it looks pretty cool. I think it looks pretty good. But if you want to step up your game, you have to use an external microphone. Other than that, Image quality wise, it's really good. Carry on to the performance of this camera. As you see here, the autofocus of this camera for both photo and video. Let's check out the photo first. It looks really good, right? It tracks the face. And also in single shot autofocus, you can get eye autofocus. So if you have a subject that is very still, not moving that much, you can use a dedicated button for that, any button you want, and then it will do that eye autofocus, which can be very helpful. So you can get nice sharp images. Also in regards to autofocus in video, it works really well. It will track the subject, and you know, autofocus from the Sony system, also way back in that year 2014, it's still really good and very valuable in these days in 2020. We have talked about the build quality, image quality, performance. Everything is actually really good, but still this is a beginner's camera. Reason for that is you are missing like some options, you're missing some things. I didn't even talk about the flip screen actually, which is a very cool feature, but also a very limiting feature. Let's say you want to capture something from above. How are you going to check out the screen? The screen itself, when there's sun on it, you don't see a thing. Even now with the lights, it will like this. You will see this. Everything is white. You cannot see anything on that screen. So the screen, even though you can see yourself, that's the only like good thing about the screen. It is not a real touch screen. You can tap the shutter and things like that, but it's not like, let me change the menu and tap there. You have to use the dials. So that is very limiting or very frustrating sometimes. So you have to turn around the camera and switch around. You don't have a FN button. Most Sony cameras have an FN button. With that, it's like a shortcut to your favorite settings. And here you don't have it. You have to go to the menu and scroll down the menu to go where you need to be. So, in conclusion, for beginners, is this a great camera for beginners? And I can honestly say yes, this is a great camera for beginners, and you can find this sometimes even new in a store for like 250 bucks or around 300 bucks. Here in the Netherlands it will cost you around 350 euros. So, but if you also look at in the second-hand market, and you'll see it around 250, 300 bucks. Talking about the lenses, what you can get, the E-mount system has many options out there in terms of APS-C lenses. It's a little bit limited, but you get those Sigma lenses, and those are really good. But also two lenses that I do recommend from Sony themselves is the 50mm f1.8 and the 35mm f1.8. Those are really great lenses and also quite affordable. You can also use full frame lenses, but those lenses are actually really big, and this camera is really very small, so you get a weird looking contraption. But still, if you want to step up from your Sony A5100 to, let's say, a Sony A7 full frame camera, then you already have those lenses available. So that's a good thing that you have to keep in mind as well. And overall, this is a very good camera for taking pictures and some video. The first episode of low budget photography gear. This is something that I do recommend, and even though it has its limitations here and there, it's still a very good camera for great image quality and great photos, right? That's all, guys. Thank you again for watching. Subscribe to the channel to see more low budget photography gear. Let me know what you want to see or what you're interested in. Thank you again for watching. Subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.